Move along, nobody wants your kind here. The expensive watch glinted under the harsh streetlights as the young man sneered. The old man just clutched his worn-out bag tighter, his eyes fixed on the ground. The marketplace at night breathed with a tired rhythm. Stalls, once overflowing with vibrant colors and bustling activity, now stood skeletal and silent, their wares packed away for the night. The air, heavy with the day's lingering aromas of exotic spices and sizzling street food, was beginning to be overtaken by the metallic tang of exhaust fumes as the last stragglers hurried home. Within this urban exhale, Rohan sought a moment of stillness. He wasn't begging, nor did he extend a pleading hand. His presence was a quiet quest for a sanctuary in the city's relentless pulse, a shadowed corner where he could rest his weary frame until the first hint of dawn. His clothing, a tapestry of faded hues and well-worn patches, whispered tales of countless nights spent on unforgiving concrete. The tattered bag at his feet held the sum total of his worldly possessions. Yet, beneath the lines etched into his face and the deep-seated weariness in his eyes, a spark of something enduring remained, a quiet dignity that the harshness of the streets hadn't fully extinguished. A burst of laughter, sharp and discordant, shattered the marketplace's tired hum. A group of young adults, their polished attire and confident demeanor suggesting a successful evening, sauntered past, their voices echoing in the growing quiet. One of them, the owner of the glinting watch, his features animated with youthful arrogance and perhaps a touch of intoxication, noticed Rohan huddled in the periphery. His smile vanished, replaced by a fleeting expression of distaste. His words, dismissive and laced with contempt, hung in the air, a jarring contrast to the carefree atmosphere of his companions. They snickered, a chorus of thoughtless agreement, their gazes sweeping over Rohan with a mixture of pity and thinly veiled disgust. Not a single voice among them rose in defense, no hand extended in solidarity. The nearby vendors, their bodies aching from a long day's work, feigned disinterest, their eyes fixed on the task of cleaning up their stalls. Rohan absorbed the verbal blow without a visible tremor. A profound sadness, a familiar ache of invisibility and rejection settled upon him. He shifted his weight, the rustle of his plastic bag a small, insignificant sound, and retreated further into the shadows, the weight of their judgment adding to the burden he already carried. The casual cruelty, the bystanders' passive indifference painted a stark portrait of the city's hidden underbelly, where some were deemed unworthy of basic human decency. The vibrant marketplace, a symbol of community and commerce, transformed into a stage for a subtle, yet profound act of dehumanization. Rohan's silent withdrawal underscored his vulnerability, yet his lack of outward reaction hinted at a resilience forged in the crucible of countless similar encounters. The skyline of the city, a jagged silhouette of steel and glass against the fading light, framed Vikram's world. His office, high above the streets, hummed with the quiet industry of a successful architectural firm. Blueprints, intricate webs of lines and measurements lay spread across his desk. His phone buzzed with calls from clients, his inbox overflowed with emails demanding his attention. Vikram moved with a focused energy, a man in control of his environment, his days structured and productive. He commanded respect, his opinions sought after, his career trajectory soaring. Yet, beneath this veneer of accomplishment, a persistent unease gnawed at him. Memories, unwelcome but insistent, flickered at the edges of his consciousness. Years had carved a chasm between Vikram and his father. A misunderstanding, a clash of wills, words spoken in haste and anger had severed a bond that once seemed unbreakable. Regret, a constant companion, whispered in the quiet moments of his day. He had tried to bridge the gap, to mend the fractured connection, but his efforts had met with silence, a void that echoed with unspoken pain. He often pictured his father's face, The lines around his eyes, the gentle curve of his smile, the strong hands that had guided him through childhood. He remembered shared laughter, bedtime stories, and the unwavering support that had shaped him into the man he was today. These memories, bittersweet and poignant, served as a stark reminder of what he had lost, of the love that still lingered beneath the layers of estrangement. A subtle disturbance rippled through Vikram's day. A message, a fleeting glimpse of a social media post, a hushed conversation overheard, hinted at an incident, an act of disrespect directed towards a homeless man. The details were vague, fragmented, a mere whisper in the cacophony of the city's digital chatter. Yet, something in the description, a detail about the man's demeanor, a passing mention of a worn-out bag, stirred a deep unease within him. A flicker of recognition, a faint echo of familiarity, resonated with a part of him that he had tried to suppress. He dismissed it initially, attributing it to coincidence, the city's endless parade of suffering. But the feeling persisted, a nagging intuition that refused to be silenced, a growing sense that this distant, anonymous incident was somehow connected to his father, to the man whose image haunted his waking hours and his restless dreams. The vague unease hardened into a sharp, insistent dread. Vikram's focus, once laser-sharp on blueprints and deadlines, scattered, fragmented by a growing sense of foreboding. He revisited the fragmented information, the hushed conversations, the fleeting social media posts. A detail, previously dismissed as insignificant, now loomed large. A description of a worn bag, a detail that resonated with a memory he had long tried to keep at bay. The realization, when it struck, was like a physical blow, a cold wave that washed over him, leaving him trembling with a mixture of fear and guilt. Driven by a desperate need to know the truth, Vikram launched a frantic search. He tapped into his network of contacts, reaching out to friends, acquaintances, anyone who might have information. He contacted local shelters, community outreach programs, his voice tight with a mixture of urgency and barely concealed panic. He shared a recent photograph of his father, the image a stark contrast to the mental picture he carried, a reminder of the man he once knew, the man he feared he had lost. Each unanswered call, each dead end, fueled his growing anxiety. He replayed old memories, moments of joy and laughter, juxtaposed against the harsh words that had severed their connection. Self-reproach, a relentless tide, washed over him, each wave stronger than the last. Meanwhile, Rohan continued his solitary existence, his days marked by the struggle for survival, his nights spent seeking refuge from the city's unforgiving embrace. He encountered fleeting moments of kindness, a shared meal, a warm blanket, a word of encouragement from a stranger. These small acts of compassion served as a counterpoint to the earlier disrespect, a reminder that not all hearts were hardened by indifference. The tension mounted as Vikram's search intensified, the possibility of a reunion, a chance to mend the broken bond, hanging precariously in the balance. The fear of being too late, of discovering that his father had suffered alone and unseen, fueled his every action, driving him forward with a single-minded determination. The focus shifted from the initial act of cruelty to the son's desperate quest for redemption and reconciliation, the weight of years of estrangement pressing down on every step. The tip arrived unexpectedly, a fragile thread of hope in the overwhelming darkness. A voice on the other end of the line, hesitant but certain, described a man, a face that matched the photograph, a worn bag that held his life's story. The address given was a small shelter, a place of temporary respite, a haven from the unforgiving streets. The reunion was a torrent of emotions, a collision of relief, regret, and unspoken apologies. Vikram's heart ached at the sight of his father, the lines etched deeper, the weariness more profound than he had imagined. The years of separation, the hardships endured, were etched onto Rohan's face, a stark testament to the city's indifference. The details of the marketplace incident, recounted in a quiet, steady voice, confirmed Vikram's worst fears. The casual cruelty, the dismissive words, the silent complicity of the bystanders, each detail ignited a fire within him, a righteous anger that burned with a fierce intensity. The pain of his father's humiliation fueled a resolve, a determination to confront the perpetrators, to expose their ignorance and prejudice. Vikram, with his father by his side, returned to the marketplace. He sought information, discreetly, carefully, his presence a stark contrast to the shadows his father had occupied. He asked questions, showed photographs, his voice calm but firm, his gaze unwavering. The confrontation, when it occurred, was not a spectacle of shouting and recrimination. It was a quiet unveiling, a deliberate stripping away of the facade of indifference. Vikram, drawing upon his own authority and confidence, revealed his identity, the connection between the disrespected homeless man and the successful architect. His words, measured and precise, exposed the shallowness of their judgments, the blindness of their prejudice. The reactions varied: shock, disbelief, a flicker of shame, a stubborn refusal to acknowledge their wrongdoing. The aftermath resonated, a ripple effect that extended beyond the immediate encounter. Vikram's actions served as a powerful reminder of the inherent worth of every human being, regardless of their circumstances. The story concluded with a focus on rebuilding, on the slow, deliberate process of healing and restoration, emphasizing the enduring power of family and the importance of looking beyond superficial appearances. The final image lingered, a quiet call to reflection on societal responsibility and the enduring quest for human dignity.